The wise farmer's son. Sometimes life puts us in situations where giving up feels like the easiest path. But those who choose to stop, think, and change their circumstances with wisdom are the ones who rise higher than anyone ever imagined. This is the story of a farmer's son who not only protected his father's dignity, but also taught a greedy landlord the real meaning of honesty and humanity, using nothing but his sharp mind and inner strength. Near the border of Bihar, in a quiet little village, lived simple people and peaceful surroundings. But amidst that simplicity was one man, cunning and greedy, always exploiting the poor. His name was Seth Dharmadas, the richest man in the village. He owned large pieces of land, but never farmed himself. Instead, he rented his fields to poor farmers, but always with tricky conditions. Conditions so cleverly designed that after a whole year of hard work, the farmers would be left with almost nothing. One such honest and hard-working farmer was Kishan. He toiled day and night, yet could barely support his family. One day, Kishan thought, if I could farm Seth's land, maybe this year will be better. So he approached the Seth and said, Seth ji, I would like to farm your land this year. Seth gave his usual crooked smile and replied, fine, but I get 50% of the harvest? No negotiations. Kishan agreed happily. All he believed in was honest work. He poured his heart into farming, sowing seeds, adding fertilizer, watering, and praying for good weather. And by the grace of God, the crop that season was exceptional, lush, golden, and healthy. Kishan was filled with hope. But then, everything came crashing down. On harvest day, the Seth arrived with his men. Not only did he take his 50% share, he forcefully took more than his due. Kishan couldn't resist him and returned home with teary eyes and a broken spirit. But as he walked up to his home, he saw someone at the door. His son Pawan, who had come home from the city where he studied. The moment Pawan saw his father's face, he understood something was terribly wrong. He placed his hand on his father's shoulder and said gently, "Don't worry, father. Now that I'm here, things will change." The very next day, Pawan went straight to Seth's house. "Seth ji," he said, "I'm Kishan's son. I too would like to farm your land. Will you give me a chance?" Seth looked at him from head to toe. Educated, yes, but probably just as naive as his father, he thought. With a sly grin, Seth said, "All right then, but this time, whatever grows above the soil will be mine. What's below will be yours." Pawan simply smiled and replied, "Agreed." But Seth had no idea that this calm-looking boy was far smarter than he appeared. Pawan didn't grow wheat or rice like others. He planted potatoes, the kind of crop that grows underground with only leaves visible above the surface. Months passed, and harvest season arrived. Seth came with his men, grinning proudly, ready to collect everything grown above the ground. But what did he get? Only dry, useless potato leaves. Meanwhile, Pawan calmly dug the earth and pulled out sack after sack of fresh, healthy potatoes. Seth's face turned pale with shock, but he could say nothing. Pawan simply said, "You asked for what's on top, Seth ji. I just did as you said." Frustrated and furious, Seth came up with a new deal. "This time," he said, I'll take everything that grows below the ground and you get whatever is above. Pawan smiled again. That works for me. This time, he planted rice, which grows above the soil, while the roots remain shallow and useless. When the time came, Seth got mud-covered roots, and Pawan got bags full of golden rice. Villagers laughed quietly. One joked, maybe Seth ji should retire from farming. An old man added, those who are proud of their tricks often end up getting tricked. But Pawan stayed silent, focused. He knew Seth's greed wasn't done yet. Seth still wouldn't give up. His greed pushed him to come up with one last cunning offer. This time, he said, I will take both the top and the bottom of the crop. Whatever is in the middle, you can have. If anything's left. Pawan didn't blink. He simply replied, as you wish, Seth ji. This time, he planted sugarcane, a crop with its sweetest part right in the middle. At harvest, Seth got only the dry leaves from the top and the roots from the bottom. But the thick, juicy canes, the actual treasure, went to Pawan. People gathered around, whispering in awe. Now that's intelligence, someone said. Seth stood silently, eyes wide, head down. This time, he had nothing left to say. The defeat was clear and complete. At that moment, something changed in Seth. He wasn't just defeated by clever farming, he was humbled by wisdom and integrity. He walked up to Pawan and folded his hands. Pawan, he said, you truly are wise. I've taken advantage of so many poor farmers out of greed. But today, you taught me that real strength lies not in cunning, but in honesty and intelligence. In front of the whole village, Seth made a promise. From today, I will never cheat a poor farmer again. He hugged Pawan and said, you've made me a better human being, son. Dear friends, this story teaches us something powerful. Where tricks fail, wisdom wins. Where greed dominates, patience brings justice. And in times of hardship, don't give up. Think differently. Pawan didn't seek revenge. He didn't raise his voice or his hand. He just used his mind and changed everything. So tell us, which of Pawan's 3 clever moves did you like the most? Let us know in the comments. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories every week.